Welcome to Successfully Ambiguous. I'm Christine Brooks-Cappadocia.
Welcome to a very special episode of Successfully Ambiguous. Canada prides itself on being a nation built by immigrants, but what happens when highly qualified global talent actually arrives? Today we've woven together some of our most powerful conversations, from top policy directors to rapid success newcomers to award-winning international students. We're exploring the systemic hurdles, the microcultural shocks, the job hunting strategies that actually work, and what it truly means to build a life of impact in Canada.
How do we address the gap between what Canada promises skilled immigrants and the actual infrastructure waiting for them?
Something that is crucial is, that lack of kind of like, I would say, social capital. It is a big barrier, and it is a shame because I think, as I said, it took me 2 years to find my first job. Those were 2 years where I lost, but I think Canada lost as well. So if there's something that we can do to accelerate that, like we receive thousands of people that have all the energy, all the qualifications, and we actually choose them because of the skills that they have.
Coming to Canada, if I'm being honest, it was difficult to get jobs and all that, because I don't have Canadian experience. That is one of the problems that you face as an immigrant when you come to Canada, because you need Canadian experience.
What are the unspoken day-to-day cultural adjustments that define the international student and newcomer journey?
Talked about the differences between India's education system and Canada's, and that's the major thing that actually came out, which helped me a lot actually, because in India, it was not easy for us to go to our professors and talk, because it was a formal conversation, and here I felt that the conversation or the way that we address our professors is just by the name, right? So for example, I'm calling you as Christine and I'm not calling you as a ma'am or a madam, and that is actually giving me a lot more bond or confidence to talk to you back, right?
Really? Okay.
Yeah, back in India, we used to call our professors, we address them as sir or ma'am. So that is actually giving a gap or ask for help. No one, I've seen a lot of them who doesn't ask for help, and that is actually a major drawback coming to a new country, or else you'll get stranded, right? Without any support or anything. I was just randomly talking to a stranger asking help. If I don't know how to tap or press to a card, I used to ask them, am I tapping it correctly? It's just a simple matter, but yet I took a minute to build a conversation with the person, right? So that next time the person will remember me whenever he taps press to. So that is there, yeah. So asking out help will definitely help you a lot, because you're new to the country, you don't know what to do or what not to do. So asking help is much better.
What are some actionable tactics to bypass systemic roadblocks and land a career track role rapidly?
You found your first job in Canada really quickly compared to most people too.
That was in
right?
about 53 days when I landed. Wow. Yeah.
That is really good. And a couple of those jobs along the way, I understand were your dream job that you've now pivoted back into the career that you wanted. I have to say, as an employer, it never felt, even though I knew we'd put you in something that was using your skill set, but wasn't what you wanted to do ultimately. Right. I never got the sense that you were just showing up to mark time, or that it was a pivot. That sometimes it's a pivot and you discover something you didn't know you wanted to do. In this case, it was a pivot, but didn't lead towards what you wanted to do next necessarily. But I never got the sense from your manager or from your colleagues that you were giving anything less than, I'm going to sound like a sports analogy here, anything less than 110%.
Yeah.
How did you do that?
I think that is because it was SES. It was special, honestly, because it was always part of my journey. Probably if it was another employer, maybe you might have felt that a little bit. But I think because it was SES, because it was part of my journey since day one. So I had a very strong connection with it. When I got the full-time job at SES, I was studying as well at that time. Like still, I think 3 months were left to end my second certificate program. So, I was doing both, and then it contributed to so much. Like in my journey, I met so many people like yourself and so many other instructors, colleagues, and everyone else. So I think I had that very special connection. And then I could not do that of giving it less than 110%. When we talk about the job hunting and job application process, I think smart work more than hard work is something that I would do, because you might have heard that people apply at 500 places and never hear back. So maybe focus on 50 applications in a week, but make sure that they are very specific applications and very specific to your skill set. Sometimes what people might have is just one resume and applying for all the jobs. So maybe creating categories of different, application. Now, for example, for myself, I'm in digital marketing. I have SEO expertise, I have content expertise, and I have social media expertise. So I would have three versions of these three skill set, which is in my field. And then I would apply to those specific, jobs using those specific resumes. So maybe these kind of small things and, smart work would really help. And then networking is just like, it boosts your, application process. It gets you noticed. It kind of, open doors for you. So I think doing both these things hand in hand really, really helps and kind of makes your application very effective.
How do newcomers evolve from navigating Canada to actively building and giving back to its communities?
I am not from a rich home, like that. So some of those things that affected me while I was very young was my uniforms are not always the best amongst my peer. And when it is time for school debates, school competition and all that, all people want, so schools want the best students to represent the school. And they also want the clean, the neat students to also represent, because that is like a facade of what you see when you see the students. Yeah. And most of the times I don't look good in my uniform because my uniform are either not so new or not so neat and all that. And that deprived me of some opportunities because I was bright, I was brilliant, but because of my appearance, I don't get some opportunity. I don't get to go for school debates and and all sorts. So that affected me, and it affected my confidence also. So sometimes I'll be like, oh, is it that I'm not so brilliant? Are these other children more brilliant than I am? And in the long run, I found out that it wasn't that. It was just that the school wanted the best students to represent the school and all that. So, and that is what I'm trying to solve, solve the problem of uniform for young people, because they don't have control over that, even if their parents are not so rich to, solve that problem, solve the problem so that they can have an equal opportunity, to
Well, and
compete.
it is a structural barrier, right? So I applaud you for solving it.
I've never imagined to be in this position, first of all, as a teaching assistant. Currently, I have assisted two of the professors for two courses. I was in that position already as a student. I was a student before, and coming back and helping out the students who came in just like me is actually a very good experience.
If there is one undeniable takeaway from our guests today, it's that newcomers don't lack skills, they lack access and community. Whether it's Ramiz's targeted job strategy, Gayathri's reminder to ask for help, or Diana's push for structural collaboration, success in Canada is a team sport. Next time opportunity knocks for you, or the next time you have a chance to open a door for a newcomer in your community, will you be ready to answer?
Thank you for joining me for this episode of Successfully Ambiguous. Be sure and subscribe to us on YouTube and listen to us on Apple and Spotify. If you've got career questions, be sure to email me at successfullyambiguous@yorku.ca. Don't forget, when opportunity knocks, be ready to answer.